We're going through the book. Everyone communicates, few connect, and it's just
Mhm.
gold. It is gold. Some of the things that I read about in chapter 5, I'm actually going to copy and paste those or send those quotes to some of my
Okay.
coaching clients. Uh,
Nice.
and just say, listen, this is I can't say it better than anything in the chapter. There were some highlights
Mhm.
as well, but I want to kick it to you. What do you think first? My first question is, what do you think about the chapter's topic or concept that connecting with other people, is more skill than natural talent?
I mean, I like the way you always pose these questions, because obviously that needs to be worked on, first of all. Now, when we think about connecting and communicating, it's not just the speaking aspect. We also have to listen. I mean, John basically opens up with the non-connectors and then the connectors, but he gives examples of these speakers
Mm-hmm.
that he listened to and how some of them were just dry, monotone, and maybe had good content, but the speaker was just not presenting as well as the content that they had.
Mm-hmm.
And then he had the other examples of like, man, great speakers. I listened to them. I was on the edge of my seat. So when you have the fluidity when you're speaking and everything, but have to make sure that you're connecting with the individual or that group, and whatever message you're conveying, it has to resonate with them.
Mm-hmm.
Because if it doesn't, if I'm speaking to a group of accountants and I'm not an accounting subject matter expert, and let's say I've worked in sanitation all my life, they're just like, wow, this guy's really excited about his sanitation engineering job, but this doesn't have anything to do with us.
Yeah.
So they wasted their time and money coming to see me.
Mm-hmm.
But that skill set to me has to be honed. You might be a great natural speaker, you might have that great talent, but you always have to capitalize on it one way or another.
Yeah, so I liked how he went through he did the people a service by not mentioning the non-connectors again.
Yes. Yeah.
I thought was a classy move by him. But then
Mhm.
he mentioned some of the connectors by name. I think Andrew Cuomo was one of them. Colin Powell
Right.
was another.
Colin Powell.
I don't. He mentioned the editor in chief of Forbes magazine. Uh,
Um, I can't.
Miss
Steve
Dole.
Forbes.
Yeah, Steve Forbes, Miss
Uh,
Senator
and
Dole.
yep.
But there was one thing that I want to boil down, and then I kind of want you to share more on it. He mentioned a female editor from a Washington, I think a writer from Washington, and he said she felt like she thought she was better or knew more than the audience, and you could tell.
Oh
You,
man, I mean, sitting in, I mean, being in the army, you've had to sit in on briefings, and you better know what you're talking about,
Mhm.
right? Especially when you're briefing the commander and his staff, depending on what on you're at, of course. And the higher you go, and the higher in the organizations that you go, even in the military, you better know what you're talking about, even if you're only briefing for 10 minutes. But she may have known what she was talking about, the one that you're referring to in the book, but her arrogancy, that's all she conveyed, is like, I'm so much smarter than you. It's a good thing you showed up. I mean, I'm paraphrasing, of course, but I've sat in on a few of those in my lifetime. Not many, but enough to remember. And to where you have somebody that even when you raise your hand and ask a question, well, you mentioned this, but I didn't quite understand it. Would you mind, rephrasing that? Well, if you didn't understand it, that's too bad. That's your problem.
Right.
But those are in those small group settings, of course.
Mhm.
But when you have a speaker that conveys that persona, that personality, I'm smarter than you. If I wasn't smarter than you, then you wouldn't have invited me to speak here. Now, of course, we want a subject matter expert to come speak to us at an event, but don't don't try to belittle me, especially if I'm paying money and I'm putting money in your pocket because I want to hear this great message that you have to offer. I think of Jesus Christ of Nazareth when he went from town to town and he spoke about certain things concerning parables. When he spoke of parables, he wasn't arrogant. but he was getting the message out because he wanted to draw people into the kingdom, right?
Mm.
So the more he conveyed with certainty and love and other things about the kingdom, people are like, yeah, this is a pretty cool message. I'm glad I showed up today to sit out here on a blanket and then, maybe be fed some fish and bread later. You know what I mean?
Right, right,
So,
right,
people were excited to hear him. And that's how we should be as connectors and as speakers. We should know what we're talking about. We should know the subject of what we're speaking of and want to draw people in and not have that arrogant, condescending attitude.
right.
But that's kind of the way I took it. I know John was disappointed when he heard this woman speak as well. So,
Yeah, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to reverse. I'm going to say if you do the opposite of this, it is one of the skills that you can employ to connect with people. So here's what John said about this non-connector number 3. It's in the second page of the chapter. So this was like
yes.
hot on off the presses. This was one of the first things that he wanted us to learn.
Mhm.
A non-connector number 3, a Washington journalist. She spoke down to the audience. It was clear that she felt superior to all of us. I know she made me feel small. Everything she said sent one clear message. I know something that you don't.
Yes.
So, Joe, for me, the inverse of this is instead of speaking down to people, speak on their level and talk as if they are your VIPs
Oh, I love that.
rather than speaking up like I'm really smart and I'm really fancy and I'm going to use big words and I'm going to use technical terms. Talk in a way that they can understand it and talk and face them and treat them as if they are VIPs in the room and you've been waiting all day to be in the room with them.
Now, you've heard John speak, right?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, and not to mention even on his YouTube videos or some of the content we have access to. But even in the videos, no matter how many times you watch them, it's the same thing. He's speaking directly to me.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what the topic is, whether it's communication, leadership, I mean, they're all, whatever it is, you can take those things and employ them in your personal life,
Mm-hmm.
in your professional life, or wherever. But at the same time, he is speaking directly to me. No matter how many times I watch this video, no matter what the message is, he's speaking directly to me. And I feel like, okay, like I'm sitting across the table from him having coffee.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like you and I are doing now, even though we're on Zoom, but you and I are like right here.
Yeah.
We're
And
connecting.
yeah, and he comes across as relatable. He comes across
Yes,
as if he actually likes people. He comes across giving no indicator that he is as successful as he is. He comes
right.
across with care for the person that's across from him. This non-connector, she I call it whenever I'm coaching people and I'm using lessons or I'm using terms, I always say you never want to reek of arrogance.
Oh, you
you
know what?
you never want to stink of arrogance because that stinks up the room and nobody will be happy to be around you.
Exactly. And even on the other end of the spectrum of that, this is a great example. So I was speaking with a potential candidate yesterday for somebody that I was recruiting for a position.
Mm-hmm.
Resume. I mean, she has spent 20 plus years in the Army. She knows what she's doing. She's had worked at various levels in that MOS, multiple, excuse me, military occupational skill for our audience that is not military. So she's worked in that capacity in law enforcement for 20 plus years now. Instructor, drill sergeant, weapons qualification, you name it. So I called her and I said, hey, look, the team wants to interview you. There's going to be a panel of about 4 people. They're going to ask you a bunch of questions, blah, blah. Joe, I don't know. I don't know. I just don't. I said, look, I said, you've been before a Soldier of the Month board, right? And what it was, she just seemed like she was so unsure of herself.
Mm,
I said, think of it as going before a Soldier of the Month board for this interview. However, it's not going to be as like rapid fire, putting you on the spot. They want to make sure that you're going to be a good fit for the team coming in and hit the ground running. I said, you've done this before. Your resume shows it to me. The only thing you need to do is know what you're talking about on your resume, Take a couple of deep breaths and you'll be fine. She said, yeah, but Joe, I said, let me ask you something. Is this your first interview, your first job interview? And she said, yeah, it is. I said, I thought so. I said, I want you to connect with me next week. We're just going to run through a few scenarios.
Mhm.
It'll take about 5 minutes. It's going to put you at ease. And she was like, thank you. Thank you. So she didn't reek of the arrogance, right? She was just very unsure of herself because it's her first time doing this.
Oh man.
So,
So you brought up a good point. Your
yeah.
point comes from a little bit further into chapter 5, where
Yeah.
it breaks down the ingredients of why people connect with others. And
Hmm.
one of those ingredients is confidence of the person that's in front of them. And they were saying that you've got to do the work to be confident, so whenever you are in front of people, they can have confidence in you because
Right.
you are displaying that confidence. Like you said, in an interview setting,
Yes.
they want confirmation, they want confirmation of what they saw on paper. So if you represent yourself confidently, now they're going to say, "Oh yeah, this is the person," because their resume says it, but they also seem sure about themselves and they're comfortable in the room as well. So I
Right.
tell people, prepping for interviews and coaching them for sales calls. If I'm in front of you and you're not confident in yourself, I'm not
Hmm.
going to be confident in you.
Yes. Exactly. That's a good point. Our company just went through an audit
Okay.
a couple weeks ago, and naturally, I'm the last guy that's going to be audited in the department for our department, right? So all day I'm thinking about this, and of course, in the Army, we go through our IG inspections and our inspector general inspections, right? So anyway, what happens? The commander and they're all up in arms. You better pass this inspection. There better not be any deficiencies. So of course, after 20 plus years of being in the military, that's exactly what's going through my head at this point for this audit.
Mhm.
My bosses weren't saying anything negative, just say you got an audit. Do the best you can. Oh. Well, anyway, was very he made me feel very comfortable. He would ask me questions and I would answer them and but I knew enough to answer the questions in a way that they were supposed to be answered. I wasn't pulling the wool over his eyes or anything like that, but I felt the auditor made me feel comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
He connected with me on a level to where it's like, Joe, this is not a jab. If you don't know the answer, don't worry about it. If you think of the answer later on, just tell me the answer to the question. That'll be good. So I'm like, oh, okay. So we actually connected almost on a personal level. Like, what kind of coffee are you drinking today? What brand do you like?
Mm.
Uh, what's the weather like where you are? Not necessarily, but just making me feel comfortable. And that brought out the confidence in me that I needed for this audit.
Mm.
But it was already there. He just had to bring it out like
Right.
we do in coaching, right?
Right. Absolutely. So he's not just there to find fault. He's there to, hey, I want you to be comfortable. He did the work of connection. One another point, one of the connectors that John Maxwell pointed out was Mark Russell.
Hmm.
And okay, a different kind of Washington insider. He performed a comedy routine in the District of Columbia for more than 20 years. Mark had us laughing, but he also had us thinking. Here's my favorite line. I bet he must have asked nearly 100 questions during his session. Everyone was totally engaged. And Joe, I believe there is a direct line between asking good questions and connecting with people.
Yes.
I believe if you come assuming you know everything there is to know about your audience, I know what they're thinking. That yeah, then your chances of connecting well with them are very low. But if you
Oh,
go asking them questions to reveal their thoughts, their frustrations, their goals for that interaction, all of those things, then
mhm.
you kind of build the highway to connect with them.
Yeah.
And question asking for me is a really, really big key. What are your thoughts on that?
You've got to ask the questions. And I like comedy routines where a comedian will come up and, hey, have you ever considered, I mean, Jerry Seinfeld is one of those classics that, what cereal, so he'll ask those questions, but asking questions is key in leadership and connecting,
Yes, sir.
because if we're not asking the questions, then we're not learning. We have to ask certain questions, no matter how ridiculous they sound, because John points out, and so do other motivational speakers and teachers point out, do not be the smartest person in the room. Ask questions. Even if you think you know the answer, you probably don't. Ask questions. John's got another book that says good leaders ask great questions. And I was on a mastermind call, I think it was last year, and that's the book that the group used to facilitate in this mastermind. And I was like, this is gold. You know, I mean, I'm a curious person by nature. I have curiosity. I like to learn new things, but when you're in a setting with other people that also want to learn, like you and I mean, we're just boom, 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 back and forth.
Mhm.
So we're connecting at a level because we're not just saying, this is what I learned, but this is what I learned. But man, what do you think about this? How does this resonate with you? So we're asking that constant question.
Oh, let me highlight this for what you just said, because that's what I'm equipping my student connectors with, almost a new default language. You just said something. What do you think about this?
Mm-hmm.
When you interact with people, bring that question. What are your thoughts on this? What do you think about this? What's your preference for this? How would you handle this situation? It gives them great value to be asked their opinion. It gives them great value to be asked what they thought about something. It gives them great autonomy if you think about it. Hey, how would
Oh,
you
oh
handle
yeah.
that situation? How would you handle
Yeah.
that situation? Right? So you're connecting with them through basically carrying questions that can activate their thinking and that
Yes.
relationship. So every room I walk into, actually, that's my commitment. That's one of my commitments. Even with my family, I'm
Mm-hmm.
committed to asking them more connective questions. Hey, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah.
How would you handle this situation? What are your thoughts on X, Y, and Z? That's one of
Mm-hmm.
I just wrote around that section. He asked nearly 100 questions. Everyone was totally engaged. Also, whenever you ask a question, it demands a response.
Oh, yes.
And so I don't want to be in one way conversations.
No.
And so, in order to not be in one way conversations where people walk away from them feeling like, oh, I participated in that, I put my 2 cents in, ask them
Mm-hmm.
good open ended questions so then they can give you good feedback and interaction. What do you think?
I like that. It's okay. So when if I find a candidate, I'm going to use the recruiting example. Okay, it's the best some of the best examples I got so far. But anyway, candidate and their resume is hitting most of the points, right? Like boom, okay. Salary expectation is within range. They got the experience, degree, certification, clearance, what have you. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to send this to the team. I'm going to say, here's what they have: degree, clearance, certification, this amount of experience. Oh, and by the way, here's a few extras.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, what are your thoughts on this? So the team will come back and say, somebody might say, I don't think this person's a good fit, but that's just my 2 cents. And that's all they'll say.
Mm-hmm.
And another one will come back and say, well, I think this person is worth an interview because they have a little bit more than what we don't see in the other employees that we have now. So they might bring a little bit of value to the team. Another one will come back and say, I concur, let's set up an interview.
Mm-hmm.
So when you say, what are your thoughts? That's exactly what I put in an email. And I get the responses. No matter what, I always get the responses. Some of them will say pass, meaning I don't want to interview this individual. Or
Right.
some of them will put their 2 cents in and say yes, 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 and yes, because of this and this and this.
Hmm.
Perfect. I'll get it scheduled.
But
But
leveraging that.
yeah, they, so that we're connecting, even though it's not verbally, is via email, but that's the world we work in now. But there is that connection either way. And I love that's honestly, that's one of my favorite questions, Brian.
What are your
What are your
thoughts
thoughts
on?
on this? Yeah,
Yeah.
what are your thoughts on
Yeah. I think really that's an excellent coaching question. That's an
it?
excellent
Yeah.
connecting question. That's just an excellent question in general. Um,
Hmm.
another a good connector that he noted was C. Everett Koop. He says, I have to admit the nation's former Surgeon General surprised me by how good a communicator he was. He was a master at using illustrations. He would make a logical statement and then he would back it up and flesh it out with a great story. It was as if you were verbally putting a thumbtack into each note. So I like what he highlighted here. So this
Yes.
guy was the Surgeon General, but he talked in a way that connected with his audience.
Right.
He made it his responsibility to make the message simple enough to be edible to the audience. For me as a communicator, so we get paid to go, we get asked to go do speaking and all of these things.
Mhm.
One of my challenges is always, who is the audience?
Yeah.
How do I make the message edible and tasty for that specific audience?
Yes.
I'll always tell people this: if you talk or write in a way where people are nodding their heads but have no idea what you just said, you failed in communication.
Right.
And Joe, we've been in college where you've read a chapter of a textbook and be like, I have no idea what I just read. I got no.
Yeah, exactly.
It was a bunch of big words, a bunch of technical jargon. It sounded like this person was writing to impress other writers rather
Yep.
than writing to communicate well to the audience. And John
Oh
Maxwell
man.
notes this guy made it his responsibility to communicate in illustration and in story so his audience could receive the point or the message. So I think that's a really big part of connecting. Don't be talking over people's heads. Don't try to big time them. Don't try to speak above them. Break things down simply so people can understand them.
Right. And C. Everett Koop was a good example in this illustration because look at his work history. You know, if we read his resume, like, yeah, okay, why would I sit in the room with this guy? I can't learn from him. He just knows too much. But like John was saying, I look at the four elements in that paragraph concerning Dr. Koop. Good communicator,
Yep.
using illustrations, logical statements, and a great storyteller. If we can take those ingredients, just those four, and hone in on those on that for our skill sets and hone in on those four elements, can you imagine how much more effective we would be as communicators?
Yeah. Right. As connectors.
Right, as connectors, and at the same time, that's like almost the meat of this book.
Yeah, 100%. And this is
Everything, yeah.
on page 3. It's only on the third page of the chapter. And then he says something about Elizabeth Dole. He said the line, he's made every person in the audience feel like her best friend.
Oh yeah.
And so this takes sincerity. This takes being open,
Mhm.
authentic, and being sincere and being genuinely happy to be in the presence of others.
Yes.
Now think about it. He kind of he said her qualifications. He's a former U.S. senator and president of the Red Cross. So she
Mhm.
could walk into every room thinking, I'm a big deal and you guys are not.
You're right.
And I want to at all times remind you that I'm a big deal and you guys are not. But
Mhm.
instead, something about her is letting her audience know, I really value you guys. I am so happy you are here, and I am so involved in, like, I really do care about you. To
Yeah.
the point that John said, she made everyone in the audience feel like her best friend.
Oh yeah.
To me, that's that she had that implies she has to have some sort of care for other people.
Yeah, it does. And even if you're that one person on the stage and you're speaking before an audience, you have to do that. You know, I have to make them feel comfortable. I have to make them, say, yeah, this person made me feel comfortable. You know, this is my takeaway when I walk out of the room and how I can use this in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Because if not, you just paid a ticket to go see an event and you wasted your time and money. There has to be that connection with that speaker.
Right.
When I attended when I attended IMC International Maxwell Conference in March 2023, I was floored. I was in awe by every speaker that was on that stage. You know, Chris Robinson, Mark Maxwell, Deb and Gino, all those folks that were up there, Valerie Burton,
Mm-hmm.
every word that came out of their mouths floored me. I mean, I still got notes in my notebook that I go look at, and that was like three notebooks ago. And I
Right.
start flipping through those pages. Valerie said this, Mark said that, John said that, Chris said this.
Right. Right. I'm gonna flip a forward here to the part where where John's writer starts talking about John,
Yeah.
and he starts to break him down into specific characteristics of John. He says he prepares thoroughly, and then he focuses on others. So the preparing thoroughly, I think what people can do better is intentionally plan for interactions and intentionally plan to do certain things in an interaction.
Hmm.
So he talks about his he talks about him always making outlines, having meticulous outlines with quotes and
Hmm.
asterisks of things that he wants to talk about. He's prepared. So,
Yes.
regular people like you and I, we see John Maxwell and we think, oh my gosh, this is just off the cuff. He's just like, it's just
Hmm.
flowing out of him. But what we're
Yeah.
seeing is the byproduct. We're seeing the outcome of his diligent, focused preparation. This man has been preparing for this interaction for weeks, if not months.
Yeah.
Now we are seeing the fruit of his preparation labor. What are your thoughts on that?
Exactly. And to dig a little bit deeper in that, he's been doing this for what, 50 or 60 years now?
Yes, sir.
And that, so all of those mistakes, let's look at that. All of those mistakes that he made, those were lessons learned. And then I better not do that again, or maybe I better work on this a little bit more because you use the word preparation. John is always prepared. There was a part in there, I think Charlie Wetzel, his writer, says he even has like laminated 3x5 cards,
Yes.
about a dozen of them that he carries in his pocket just in case. So that preparation phase is always there,
Yes.
whether he's like impromptu type stuff. Oh, I better be need. Oh, I'll get some 3x5 cards and laminate them. Oh, I'll memorize a few more quotes just in case.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, and like you said, like the way we do things, I mean, that's the preparation is key. For instance, I have a weekly, what we call, I think it's called like a weekly stand-up call that I'm on with a bunch of the leaders in the company every Monday morning. What are you working on? What are the things you're going to work on this week? And then I better know what I'm talking about. Not that I'm going to get called out. None of us get called out or anything like that, but we have to show what we're doing and why. But it's this is not a jab against anybody, but it's a little boring for a guy like me. Okay. So I got to throw in a joke every now and then or say something off the wall. For instance, if I'm connecting with everybody in this group and they're just kind of dull, but
Mm-hmm.
I hate to say it like that, and they're really nice people, don't get me wrong. But what I say something like is, hey, to all the older guys out there in my age group, if any of you got a bottle of high karate aftershave, if you got an extra one, mail it to me. And the younger guys are going, what's high karate aftershave? And you could hear the keyboards going because they're Googling it.
Googling what in the world Joe is talking about. But no, that's cool. And
Yeah.
that's one of the things he also said, that
Mhm.
John loves humor.
Yeah.
He loves humor, laughing, telling a joke, because
Hmm.
he wants to uplift the room. He
Yeah.
wants to live in a kind of live in a continual environment of laughter and joy. So he always tries to bring light
Hmm.
to a situation, joking all the time. And that was one of the things that he said. He said basically that John that you see on the stage, he's like that all the time.
All the time. Yeah.
Yep.
But he also said, I like the part that because you brought up the jokes, right? Excuse me, you brought up the jokes. And Charlie says in the book, he says, John's jokes are just kind of corny, really. He said, but John is convinced that they're really funny. So if John's convinced, you're going to be convinced that his jokes are really funny.
Right.
So
Right.
he's convincing you that his humor is just, great. So, and it is because he's convincing me that, it's great. And and as a connector, as a communicator, you have to convince that person with whom you're speaking the same thing. Like, not only do I just know what I'm talking about, man, I want you to feel comfortable in what I'm talking about.
For sure. For
You
sure.
know?
for sure. And if you can make people laugh,
Yes.
to me, so making people laugh or
Mm-hmm.
making people talk or making people share,
Mm-hmm.
I liken it to tilling the ground before you can plant a seed.
Mm.
I we I dare not try to plant a seed on untilled ground.
Yeah.
So before I ask, so like before I ask somebody for something or make a request or blah blah blah,
Yeah.
I need to till the ground. Bring a joke, bring a good story, ask them
Right.
a thought provoking question, get
Mm-hmm.
their input on something. Because if I am making them laugh, that's coming from the belly, that's coming from the heart, that's tilling.
Yes.
If I'm making them think and open up to what I have to offer per se, that's tilling the ground. And so
Right.
he's tilling the ground there, so
Yeah.
it's ready for his points that he may insert in that ground that's now ready to receive it.
And again, it's that preparation phase.
Yep.
It's always being prepared. Now, I like the way Charlie says it because when John is preparing, I looked at it like this. It's not a chore.
Right.
It's not like he's has to like labor intensively, and probably because he's already used to doing it, right? After doing it for so many decades. But it's not like a chore. It's like I want to make sure the audience or that person I'm gonna add value to them.
Right. Right.
I'm gonna be an impact in their lives.
Right.
So they can take that and add value to somebody else and be impactful in somebody else. And in some of his leadership books, he calls it like multiplying leaders.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what he's doing.
Yes, and so making sure he adds value. One of the ones he says he focuses on others. John focuses on others. If he can, he meets and greets people beforehand, and when he begins his presentation, speaks positively about his host or talks about someone he knows or has met in the audience. And when he's done, he hangs out to greet people, shake hands, and sign books. So he is focusing on making other people the star of the show, even though he's a big deal.
Yeah.
He makes you a big deal,
Oh, I
and
love it. Yep.
that is someone who people want to be around. He's quick to give praise, he's quick to compliment.
Hmm.
He wants to set people up for positive experiences. They said he meticulously plans on either recognizing people or bringing people in on something or
Hmm.
people meet people that they want to meet. And if he has a great experience, he wants to share that with other people. So he
Yeah.
is someone who tries to make other people feel like they're the star of the show and the focus of the attention. And for me, that's a great connector.
It is because we're talking about his writer Charlie Wetzel in this aspect. Now, when Charlie first came to work with him, he wanted him to fly somewhere with him, and he said, "Look, man, I can't. This is my first wedding anniversary. I can't do that." And John was like, "You know what? I want you to bring your wife. We're going to put you up in a hotel, and we're going to fly you first class.
Right.
That's going to be our wedding gift to you." And I was like, "Wow, how many people would do that for somebody else?"
Mm-hmm.
They would, I can think of several people who say, well, suck it up and deal with it, postpone it, celebrate it some other time, or you know what, maybe find not John.
Mm,
John was like, hey, happy anniversary. This is our anniversary gift to you and your wife.
mm.
Problem solved.
Right. And so that just lets you know his heart is like, I want you to do things. I want to put you in the best position and I want to
Mhm.
celebrate with you and I want you to celebrate with me. So
Yes.
it's your anniversary, but I want you to go to this writers conference. How about it?
Yep.
Both of y'all, like I want to join you in celebrating that thing exactly like what you said. So let's get
Mhm.
into some of the fundamentals of connecting
Yes.
as in the chapter. But then there are different levels. There's connecting one on one, there's connecting in a group, and then connecting to an audience. After we share these, I want to know, have maybe instances where you've done this well, instances where you've maybe walked away and say, I could have done that specific part better. and then ask you that operating question that we always like to pose. How would your life and your teams or your business change if you were implementing this better? So connecting one-on-one, have interest in the person, place value on that person, put his or her interests ahead of your own. I love that. Express gratitude to and for that person.
Oh man, that's multiple elements there. The first one is like, and again, it goes into the preparation phase, right? And John goes on to say, connecting is really, it's not an accident. You have to do this. You have to prepare this. It kind of reminds me of a quote that's, I think it's in the book. I can't remember where, but the greatest problem in communication is the illusion that has been accomplished.
Yes. Yeah.
The greatest problem in communication is the illusion that it has been accomplished. Excuse me. But on that, what happens is that I've been in front of people one on one. We'll use that illustration for now. And even though I may have prepared what I think is preparation, I didn't take the time to call the individual and say, "Hey, we're meeting in 2 weeks. I just wanted to do a follow up with you and ask you a couple questions." Now, John tells us to do this,
Mm,
and then he does another phone call. But I failed to do that several times in the beginning of coaching and all that. I just went in, I sat one on one with a potential client, asked a few questions, provided a few suggestions, but I wasn't prepared. I thought I was, but I wasn't. And I did walk away at that point. What could I have done better? And the answer was, surprisingly, I don't know what I could have done better at that point.
mm,
So guess what I had to do? I had to call another coach and I said, "This is what I did. This was the outcome." And I said, "There was something missing."
mm,
"Yeah, you weren't prepared like you thought you were. You should have just done a little bit more research, taken the time, asked other questions
mm.
on behalf of them, not for yourself to make yourself look good." I'm like, oh man.
Yeah.
And you want to talk about eating some humble pie and go back to that person and say, "You know what? I think I screwed up. This is what I should have done, and this is what I shouldn't have done with you. Can we start again?"
Right. Right.
So you're on pins and needles hoping that they say yes, but you're prepared if they say no.
Right. For
Okay.
sure. It's like, all right, I need a do-over because that last one,
Mhm.
I could have been better for you. So have
Yeah.
interest in the person, place value on the person, put his or her interest ahead of your own. Express gratitude to and for that person. I love
Hmm.
interactions where I get time to do this.
Yes.
And I hate the interactions where I don't get a chance to show the person my gratitude and my interest.
Hmm.
So, for example, this is what I don't like. I'll do like a speaking engagement, right?
Yeah.
And afterwards, people will come up to say whether or not it was good, but many times they just want to compliment in passing. But
Oh yeah.
I want to stay there and okay, so you just heard me yap for 20 minutes. What
Hmm.
about you? How can I learn more about you? I'm interested in what brought you here today. What can
Yeah.
I learn from you? And when I don't get a chance to show them, I'm actually really curious about you. I feel
Hmm.
I feel like I didn't do my job as a connector.
Oh.
Like if someone is only coming to give me information, but I don't get an opportunity to pull out of them who they are, what is important to them. Like I feel like I've not done my job as a connector, or you know what I'm saying? Or like I
Yeah.
had a selfish interaction. And that kind of frustrates me.
Hmm.
Yeah,
So we're men of faith, right?
yeah.
So we attend church, we go to Bible study. Let me ask you this. How many times have we taught in a Bible study session or been taught in Bible study to where that teacher, that facilitator that night is teaching Bible study, ask those same questions to us at the end? Now, I've had people come on and say, "Oh, that was a good lesson. I really enjoyed it," and they may have highlighted a couple of key points, or they may have said, like you said in passing, "Hey, great job," and now it's time to go home. But how many times have we really asked that? How did that resonate with you, and how can you take that and employ that principle in your Christian walk, in your everyday walk?
Yeah.
And that's where I've failed
Yeah.
in doing that.
Right.
You know.
And to be more practical in terms of, I'm going to try to do a better job of explaining what I'm saying
Mm,
in the interaction.
mm.
I don't want it to be a one-way street where I'm doing the talking.
Yeah.
They then say thank you, and then we
Mhm.
part ways. To
Oh.
me, I feel like I have not done my job as a
Hmm.
connector. My frustration is after the fact where somebody shook my hand or I saw someone in passing and I did
Yeah.
not get the opportunity to show them, to ask them
Mm.
a question of interest, to express gratitude for them. That is where I fail sometimes of not
Yes.
doing being intentional about connecting in
Hmm.
interactions. Because I'm not looking for fans.
Right.
I'm not looking for fans and I'm not looking for yes men. For I'm looking to connect with people. So
Yes.
if I did teach a class, for example, I'm going to say this and then I'll stop talking. So I did a Maxwell certification teaching call for my they one of the staff members found out the work that I'm doing in a lot of the local schools and they wanted
Hmm.
me to host a teaching call. So I did that. But what I said, Joe, was the terms of my helping, these are my terms.
Hmm.
Everyone on this call, I want you to reach out to me so I can follow, so we can set up a Zoom follow up because now
Hmm.
you owe
You
me
own.
information about you. I want to learn about you
Yeah.
because this call is mostly one way. I'm
Mm.
doing the sharing, but I want to learn about you so I
Yes.
can connect with you. So that's optimally what I want. I want to learn about them.
Oh, yeah. And learning about an individual, I mean, it resonates because the thing is that at that point we're kind of and maybe it's that human aspect, like, oh my God, I think I just provided some impact and value.
Mm,
This person just called me and reached out to me. They text me, they emailed me, they wanted to set up some time. They won't, they, you know, oh, now we're connecting. Now we're doing we're pushing the ball just a little bit closer to the goal line. We're not kicking it so hard, we're not carrying it so hard. We're just a little bit at a time. We're just pushing that ball to the goal line just a little bit more, which is helpful because then what we do on that part, and John says it, we're multiplying.
mm-hmm.
We're multiplying connectors, we're multiplying communicators. Ultimately, we're multiplying leaders.
Joe, I have a question for you.
Mhm.
What are you most interested in right now? It could either be personally or
Mhm.
professionally. We both have a lot of stuff going on. What are you
Oh my
most
God.
interested in right now?
I can't even narrow it down. I can throw out several things personally with my wife, my children, my grandchildren, just staying connected to them.
Mm,
I'm getting older. I've seen things, I've experienced things. Everybody says the same thing. I get it. But I just want to experience new things in life, with my family, not just by myself.
mm,
My wife and I, we like to travel, uh, experience different cultures, eat new foods, the weather, the environment, whatever. We just came back from Turkey and Greece and Egypt a few weeks ago, and it was an experience that we'll never forget. Um, Professionally, the connecting part, like what we're doing right now, I want to continue to facilitate leadership classes, coaching one-on-one, coaching in groups, but it has to provide it has to make an impact and provide value. Otherwise, it's worthless. I'm only catering to myself, and I'm being selfish if I don't do that. It has to be about the other person. That's some of the things that I'm interested to include doing missions work in other countries where people have not heard the gospel.
mm-hmm.
Those are the things.
That's really
Um,
interesting.
yeah, and those are just I got a bucket list, Brian. I really do. It's an interesting question. That's why I can't narrow it down. My knees are shot, my back hurts, but I still want to run with the Bulls in Spain.
Mm-hmm.
That festival is coming up next month.
Mm-hmm.
I want to hike up Kilimanjaro
Mm-hmm.
with my wife, walk on the Great Wall in China, go into those shark cages off the coast of South Africa or Australia. I want to experience that,
Oh wow.
but those are the things, yes. But ultimately, is to my personal thing and my wife's personal thing is just teaching and experiencing the kingdom of God on a daily basis
Mm,
and letting that light shine out of us to where other people will be drawn toward it.
okay. Thank you for sharing. Like I've known you for a few years. I did not know your heart was so inclined for traveling and
Mhm.
seeing the world. Um, that's very interesting. So now I know if I see some very interesting places or articles about traveling, now I know that's something that's very important to you. I didn't know that. And then sharing the gospel, absolutely. Whatever we do, we want to make our mark.
Yes.
The most impressive mark one can make is to shine the light and love of God. I think that's awesome. I
Oh yeah.
just think that's awesome. I just wanted to ask you that question. So then,
Yeah.
fundamentals of connecting in a group, the book
Mhm.
says. Show interest in each person in your group. Do this by asking each person questions. Actually, if you're there, you want to read some of those bullets?
Let's see. What? Sorry.
Page 118 at the top.
Okay. All right. Yep. Okay. So the first bullet, show interest in each person in your group. Do this by asking each person questions. Now, depending on how large the group is, but we can ask those questions like, so let's say for instance, we're doing a leadership facilitation
Mm-hmm.
mastermind group, whether it's Zoom, in person, what have you. And sometimes these groups are kind of small, probably no more than 10, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you do have that one person that's just kind of sitting there, just doing this, maybe taking a note, but they're not engaged. Now, in instructor training courses in the Army, we're told don't single a person out. So, but I have been known to single a person out, but in such a polite way. I'm like, hey man, you know what? I noticed you've been a little quiet over there, but yeah, I see you kind of nodding and giving me a look like you're in agreement with some of the things I've been saying. Can you tell me your thoughts on what I've said so far?
Yep.
It does put them on the spot, but it brings out, it's like that coaching thing again. It brings out what they have.
Right.
And you're connecting with that person one on one. But not only that, you're connecting in the group because there may have been somebody else that just doesn't want to ask that question,
Mhm.
or they may want to ask you after the session.
Right.
But now that person brought out something which is now connecting with this person over here and now it's facilitating within the group.
Right.
And I've done that on masterminds using a couple of John's books,
Yes.
and it's helpful. But that's when we're doing that, asking each person a question. And I think we have to because we can't leave anybody behind.
Right. For
I,
sure.
I, yeah.
Uh,
Place value on, oh, sorry, go ahead.
oh yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. That's exactly what yeah, place value. Go ahead, continue.
Yep. Place value on each person by pointing out his or her value to the others in the group. So I'm facilitating facilitating a group right now using John's book, Developing the Leader Within You 2.0.
Okay.
I got a retired command sergeant major, an active duty command sergeant major, a retired lieutenant colonel, a lady that's in the mental health care field, and another lady that's in education, and another lady that's in missionary work.
Mm.
So each one of them is bringing value to the other
Yep.
in the group. And one and you would think that even though we have a military background, that's where all of the conversation is taking place, but it's not. The educator is saying this, which is helping the military guy.
Mm-hmm.
The military person is helping the missionary person by saying something. So each person is adding value to the other, and at the end of the night, there's like, wow, this is helpful.
Right.
And when I hear that, I'm like, this is helpful.
That's just
It
compliment.
just it just stands out. Excuse me, just stands out because they're helping each other, and all I'm doing is facilitating.
Look, absolutely. So okay, place value on each person by pointing out his or her value to the others in the group. The quote I use is lean on the genius in the room.
Mhm.
Don't think like the lady from the Washington journalist. She
Yeah.
walked into that room. I am the only smart one in here, so I will carry the intellectual load for you
Yeah.
coloreds.
Yeah.
But what he's saying is a great connector with the group assumes that there is genius in the room and
Mhm.
readily highlights the value that other people are bringing to the room. What
Yes.
room won't you be welcome in if you, by habit, let other people shine?
Mm.
If you, by habit, are always finding a way to empower, validate, showcase other people, everybody's going to want to be around you because you
Yeah.
are always recognizing the people around you. I love that. So the third one, make it your goal to add value to everyone in the group and let them know that is your intention. That's like the foundational ethos of the Maxwell organization. Add
Yeah.
value, add value. No, your degree, no one's there for your degree or
Mm.
like your job is to add, pardon me, my job is to add value. And so
Right.
we, I have this, like in the army, when we had our general orders, no matter what, these are your orders. For me, that's like a Maxwell general order. Add
Hmm.
value. Your job
Yeah.
is to add value. That's your general
That's right.
number one. That's why in
That's right.
my conversations with that same question, how can I help you win? Right? What do I need to do? What do I need to send you? Do what like how can I help you?
Yeah.
So yeah. So I just wanted to point that one out. And then the fourth bullet.
Express your gratitude to each person in front of the others. That carries weight.
Oh man.
That carries so much weight,
Oh
man.
yes.
Dude, that was a good point, man. I'm so glad you brought that up because X, Y, and Z, or one, two, three. And then you highlight a few things, what they brought up, and they're like, oh, because now that expression on that person's face, they may not be saying anything at the moment. They may, yeah, oh, wow, that guy liked what I just said. Because the person over on the other side of the room is like, wait a minute, I want to add, oh, can I add something to that? Can I weigh in? Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Because now you're getting a two for one.
Yes. You're making them feel like they've contributed something of value.
Yeah.
And you're also kind of you're almost conditioning the room to now they want to contribute because they saw that other person got an attaboy for
Yep.
contributing and got validated. And so you almost like establish you're establishing and reconfirming their reputation in front of others.
Yes.
Okay, so biblical principle. Here's what happens. Jesus gets baptized, right?
Yep.
God the Father then validates him in front of all the witnesses. This is my son with whom I am well pleased.
Well pleased.
He is
Yes.
validating and praising him in front of him. So it establishes his credibility.
Yeah.
So if we are making sure we are showing our gratitude for people in front of others, we are
Mhm.
establishing and protecting their credibility, and we are definitely going to be connecting with them.
Oh man, that was an awesome illustration, man.
Yeah.
That's a C. Everett Koop.
I'll take it. That's high praise, man. Thank you. Thank you. And then the last thing, the last category, connecting with an audience, and
Mm.
let's go bullet for bullet. Show interest
Okay.
in your audience when possible. Meet and greet audience members before you speak. Um, while speaking, let people know that you understand that each person is unique and special. Joe, I just had a graduation commencement speech in the
Yeah.
backstage. Almost every single high schooler and board member, I made it my business to go up to them, high five them, congratulate them, ask them what their plans were after graduation, and tell them that this is only the beginning. So
Yes.
before the talk, I want to meet, greet, and literally touch and agree with you. So I'm not somebody coming from down on high. I'm here
Hmm.
and I'm here to celebrate you and meet you personally. All right.
Yeah.
Your thoughts on that first bullet or the second bullet?
Yeah, that one. I love what you did. I mean, I mean, when you did that, you connected with them. You
Yes, sir.
asked about them. And I like what you said. I didn't come down from on high. This is about you. This is your special day. This is about your next step in life, taking yourself to the next level.
Right.
I love the way you did that, man. So that was awesome. Yes, the next bullet. Place value on each person by letting them know you spend a lot of time preparing your talk because you value them, their purpose, and their time. I've heard speakers like on post on a military installation where they say somebody invited them to be a guest speaker, but it was they made that speech about them
Mm,
and their accomplishments. They didn't make it about the person who just accomplished a great milestone in their life. But look what I did with my accomplishments. And if you play your cards right, you can be just like me.
mm,
Come on, man. Nobody wants to hear that. Your accomplishments are great. Nobody's diminishing that. But going back to what you said, Brian, you added value to every single one. The graduating class, board members, teachers, parents, whoever was in that room with you.
mm,
And I know they soaked up everything like a sponge just because of your personality and just because the way you bring value and add value to people and
mm,
make an impact.
mm.
And I know you spent the time preparing for that time, because it was important not just to you but to the audience.
Yeah, Joe. So I started that off with a I started that off about this about being prepared for the moment, and
Yeah.
that I was prepared. I said I have been sent from the year 1982 to be in this very gym with
Yeah.
these very graduates at this very moment.
Hmm.
My whole life has been preparing me for this moment, and I'm ready. and
Wow.
and so it gives them the surety that, listen, I don't take this lightly. I
Yes.
have been preparing
Right.
for this moment, and the creator of the universe has put us in the same moment in time and in the same location.
Hmm.
I'm here to serve you and bring you value, and I'm ready to do that.
Yes.
And it's not,
Oh
yeah,
man.
it's not about me. I'm kind of like you said, I'm here on assignment, and I will bring value, right? I will bring
Mhm.
value to you, and
Yeah.
you are my mission, my audience, and I'm not here to, like you said, you made a good point. I'm not here to sing my own praises. I'm here to connect and equip the audience.
Yes. John says in some of his classes that he teaches, and I've heard this on a couple of different videos. He said, you want to know what your purpose in life is? He said, it's real simple. It's in the Bible. He said, you're to be the light of the world and you're to be salt. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Problem solved.
Yes,
What's my purpose in life? Oh, to be the light of the world and to be salt. Add flavor.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's exactly right. Add flavor,
Mhm.
add the right flavor to the right person at the right moment. And that is going to take you figuring out who is this person in front of me? What are they interested in? What do they need? What do I need to be for them in order for them to have received value?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Sure. So put people first by letting them know you are there to serve them. I do this the point says, I do this by being willing to answer questions, making myself available to interact with people after a speech, and being available to sign books. And so that yeah, I want you to ask questions because your
Hmm.
questions are coming from your heart.
Hmm.
And so he's getting them to open up, and so he can kind of address the thing that is important to him, because if it wasn't important to him, they wouldn't have asked a question.
Exactly. Exactly. And I like what he says. He works the room. He walks around the room. And he's saying that during his conferences, I can't remember which book this is in. It might be in this one. He'll walk around the room, but he won't eat. He'll just talk to people. Hey, what's going? Nice tie,
Mhm.
whatever. So, but he works the room like that, and I,
Yes.
I like that because he's genuinely interested in people and adding value to them, and that's a great takeaway.
Yeah.
He epitomizes Jesus Christ to the point of where Jesus was always showing interest
Mm.
in his disciples to get them trained up to go out into the world and preach the gospel.
Right. Right.
John is he sheds that light because he obviously he's a believer. He believes in the kingdom, what it represents. He's representing the kingdom here on earth in his calling and in his profession, and that's what we need to do as well.
So I'm gonna give you time to think about this before we close out this episode. Let's talk about parting commitments. I'm going to share what I'm committed to doing differently based on the teachings of this chapter.
Hmm.
What I am committed to doing differently is I'm going to have a laminated index card of pre-prepared, which is redundant, of connecting questions. I'm always going to take that laminated card with me, and I will not have an interaction if I can help it. I will not have an interaction where I don't get to ask at least one or two connective questions. That's my commitment coming away from this chapter. I don't like one-way interactions where I'm the only one that's talking. I need to drill down and learn about that person. So that's my commitment from this chapter. Be prepared with those connective questions. What about you, my friend?
Oh my gosh. Along the same line, brother. When I read this, and especially when Charlie was talking about John having 3x5 cards with him all the time, that was the thing that I wanted to do, you know, or at least put it in my little pocket notebook that I carry around, those questions. I may not have a dozen of questions or a dozen 3x5 cards, but like you, I'm going to have a few questions.
Right.
Or I'm going to, they may not be questions, but sometimes it may be a comment.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, over at the food court on Post, what is it, Charlie's Subs or something like that. This was about less than a year ago, and the ladies were on the line cooking, taking the orders, doing whatever, and it was just me and a couple other people in line. I said, you know what? I said, you ladies do a phenomenal job here. And they just kind of looked at me. They thought I was being kind of sarcastic. I said, you're here all the time, especially during family day, where you're serving, you're taking orders, you're seeing family members come in to see their sons and daughters graduate from their classes in the military. And these are the frontline defenders for our nation.
Mm-hmm.
But you add value to them by taking their order, putting a smile on their face, and don't think of it as just serving food. You guys are doing more than that. You guys are actually putting some smiles and serving happiness
Mm-hmm.
right now. And I just wanted to say thank you for what you guys do every day. And they're like looking at me, and you could see a couple of them, man, eyes were starting to tear up a little
That
bit.
hit him. That hit him
It
hard.
hit them. And but it was sincere. It came from my heart, man. And I just wanted to express that gratitude to them.
Yeah.
And it did him. They were like trying not to blink so they wouldn't tear.
Yeah.
tear.
And
But
so
going
then,
back to what you were saying, that was my strategy as well to have those questions on there to be prepared.
ooh, Joe, you just talking. I had an epiphany.
Ah,
I jokingly call them Bryophanies because I'm Brian having an epiphany. I call them Bryophanies. All right. Here's my Bryophany. Maybe gratitude is a master key to someone's heart.
mm,
Maybe gratitude gets you past all of those layers of the onion that is
yeah.
that person, past their day, past their frustrations, past their
Hmm.
qualifications, past their insecurities, past their history, past all of this stuff, and it gets you to the heart.
Mm,
By you showing gratitude, it got past all of that. They don't know you from a hole in the wall, but you are speaking the language of gratitude and validating them in front of others, and it got to their hearts.
yeah.
Maybe the work of a master connector is to always bring your wallet, bring your belt, bring your shoes, but bring gratitude.
Gratitude.
Hmm.
Oh man. That's so thought provoking. I can't even it's just like dropping the mic. I'm out.
Look, you helped unlock that. You helped unlock that.
Yeah.
Also helped my Saturday at 8 o'clock Central be another fun one This is going to be another great episode for the vault. I'm just happy of what's happening. I think
Hmm.
we're going deeper into the book. I think people who consume this are going to be sharpened and strengthened and encouraged. You encourage me, you give me great ideas. It's a pleasure to be in alignment with you and doing something special. I feel like in months we're going to look back on this and say, hey, we started something great.
Yeah,
Now look what it is. So I
yeah.
really appreciate you, and thank you for sharing with me more of your interests. That's really intriguing, and it made me. I think it filled my cup.
Well, thank you, Brian. And like I said, I don't walk away. There's always, when we leave these sessions, there's always something that I walk away with, always, and I carry it throughout the day, or I look back at the video, the things that we discussed and everything. And I pray to God it's just adding value to others, that
Mhm.
it's impacting them, and they're using it and going forth to do great and wonderful and mighty things. Like we're saying, it's not about us. It's about the other individual. It's about the other group, and that's where you're always adding value, man. That's where you're always impacting. You're always making sure it's about the other person in the room, or the other person on the phone call, or the other person on the Zoom call. You do that, and I see you do that with your family. You know, the Rush Kingdom is out there doing great and wonderful things for the kingdom, man.
Well, I truly appreciate that, and we'll have some conversations. We'll have some conversations offline on how we can
Yeah.
continue to do that more and grow. But yeah, this has been great. We appreciate for the people who are going to listen. Whenever you are going to listen, make it your business to add value. Make it your business to be a connector. Open the person up. Show interest in them, and express gratitude. Maybe have it be one of your native languages. Is speaking gratitude. Um, so for Joe Vigil, I am Brian Rush. This has been the Connector Circle. We've gone over chapter 5 of the book, Everyone Communicates, Few Connect. That's all we have for this time. And until next time, connect, inspire, and win.